What's up, everybody? It's been a long time, it seems like, since I made a video, but I hadn't had a lot to talk about. As a matter of fact, I do have a lot to talk about, but that's going to be for a later video later today, when I get some beer in the throat and I can really let loose on some of the things that's been bothering me. This particular story has came out here recently. It was dealing with a company called Snapshot Games. They are a video game developer. They're headquartered in Sofia, Bulgaria, or whatever, and that's like way over in the European section there. It's founded by a guy named Julian Gollop and David Kay, and he's recognized. Julian Gollop is recognized for creating the XCOM video game franchise in the 1990s. I was watching two videos. One, The Quartering, hosted by a guy named Jason from The Quartering, and Yang Yao. Yang Yao, I believe I am subscribed to. Jason from The Quartering, I am not. Both of them had just recently put out videos about how backers for their latest game, Phoenix Point, which is a turn-based tactical strategy RPG-like game, I've watched some alpha footage of it. It's pretty much the exact same game as XCOM 2 with a different story and skin. It plays identically to that because I've played XCOM 2 pretty extensively, and I've also seen that it has a very similar interface. Now, this is a game that is strictly like PC. I haven't heard anything about it coming out on any other platforms. It was a Kickstarter type backer program where they were trying to make money for it, and a bunch of backers, eventually the normal everyday consumer like myself raised, a little over $700,000. Then there were some other backers, and it got it pushed to $2 million. So, which is pretty much guaranteed that the game will be able to be made. Now, originally, Mr. Gollop at Snapshot said that you'll be able to put it in your Steam launcher. It'll be available on that. It'll be available on GOG or GOG.com, and you'll be able to play it that way, yada this, yada that. Everybody was pretty happy about this. Hey, who doesn't want to play another game that's absolutely 100% identical to XCOM 2, essentially, or if not XCOM Enemy Unknown? Why not? Those games are really fun, challenging, and interesting to play all the way around. I even love the XCOM The Bureau, which had the third-person element where you actually really control your character, but it also do some tactics and stuff. Okay, so Jason from The Quartering said that he felt really bad for the backers because, and Yang Ye felt the same way because, hey, they decided to go with Epic Games Launcher for an exclusivity 1-year deal, and they weren't originally going to do that, but they decided to because Epic Games, because of the exclusivity deal, gave them another $2 million or $2.5 million, which brings their total with the other $2 million to $4.5 million or something along that lines, give or take a few cents. And that would more or less guarantee the game got made. They needed only $500,000, and people were really excited about this. Mr. Gollop, because this backlash against Epic Games Store, because people don't like using that as a launcher or whatever reason. I'm not a PC player. I do not know if it costs, you have to pay a monthly subscription to Steam, or you just use the launcher, or you pay up money for that. So I might be speaking out of turn. Yang Yao and both Jason from The Quartering, which I hope this one of you guys who watch this video, if it gets to Facebook or YouTube or Twitch or whatever, send this to both Yang Yao and Jason from The Quartering, because they need to hear how I feel about it. Players feel like they were scammed. They don't want to use the Epic Games Launcher. They don't like it. They have a problem with it, and they don't like the fact that they're supposedly, as Jason had put it, you took away the player choice, and now they're forced to use the Epic Games Launcher. Well, first of all, I'm going to address this. No one's forcing them to do anything, right? Yes, they backed the game, but Julian Gollop has also stated they will get all the DLC for free once they're able to play it outside of the Epic Games Store after that year, And if they're just really not happy, you get a full refund. You can actually go through, they are using a third party to get your refund that has a good rating, but there's also a way to do it through Fig. And so you don't have to go through a third party, and people are getting their refunds, whatever, because they're upset and their butt hurt because a company decided that they wanted to ensure that their game got made 100%, and that they could continue to support it. So they did say sign the deal with Epic. Epic Games actually has a better revenue turnaround for anybody that signs with them versus Steam or GOG. And that is, from a purely business standpoint, that makes complete sense. They actually make more money off their game, and they get more pennies on the dollar off of it. And like from a business standpoint, I 100% want to tell Jason and Yang Yao that I 100% agree with Gallup's decision to go with Epic Games. And the reason that I agree with him, and I do not feel sorry in any way, shape, or form for anyone that backed that game, is because A, they can go through Fig, or they can go through their third party and get a full refund for any of the money they tied down into it, which is great. And people are actually, I looked into it, are getting their money back, so there's no issue there. If they decide they want to wait that year, they will get all the DLC for free for that year, which is pretty cool. But I agree with them from a business standpoint. Just because you stated when the game was first announced that you were going to be able to get it on Steam and GOG, but a business is a business. They are in it for money. They are in it to make sure that their product gets delivered. And even though they had raised the initial $2 million, even though they only needed $500,000 is all they really needed, because they had other investors on the back end that was going to give them money too, they just needed $500,000 from the public. Now, they have a right as a company, when they look at any deal that's going to help them grow as a company. Now, Julian Gallup and David Kay and 8 other people is all that's in this company. You know, it's a PC thing, right? Just like Jason talked about with the Division 2 and not going through Uplay and all this stuff, and PC players were having issues here and there. You know what? Fuck the PC, Jason. I don't care. The PC master races are called. There is more people playing consoles now than PC. It's probably 3 or 4 times that amount. And the reason it is because a really, really, really good gaming PC is going to run you like $2,000. You might be able to get by with $1,000, or I can just spend $250 and get a PS4. Which would you rather do? If you don't like the fact that you can't play Division, you got to go through Uplay, or you got to go through this or that, just play it on the console. You don't have to do nothing. You pop the game in, it installs, get the update, and play it. Okay? That's really all you got to do. That's it. You don't have to play it on PC. You're not being forced to do anything. Just go buy a damn console, okay? It just makes life so much simpler than having to buy a fucking new graphics card every 6 months or whatever the hell, just because you got to have the top of the line. And who cares? I agree with Gallup. I 100% agree with him to go to Epic Games. And I agree with him from a business standpoint. If I had the ability to make more money and to be able to develop the game that I'm working on to its full extent and be able to provide more content down the road, I'm going to go with what's going to be best for business. Now, that's a very Triple H way of saying what's best for business. That's what's best for business. If you're a backer and you're pissed about that and you feel scammed or lied and it's whatever, again, you can go to Fig, or you can go to their third party and you can get a refund. How about this, PC players? You're so pissed about it, but why don't you just go play XCOM 2? Because you probably already have it or own it. And it's basically, what I've looked at, the pre-alpha build for Phoenix Point, it's pretty much the same fucking game. So you want to literally you literally just put a bunch of money and backed a game that's pretty much identical to another game that you've probably already played. I'm talking verbatim identical. I watched a pre-alpha build. You select and fight an enemy. It does that weird drop-down camera. It has similar interface to XCOM 2. It's so similar, and it makes sense because these people made XCOM originally. The Phoenix Point, sci-fi setting too, It's just unbelievable. Well, just play XCOM 2 then. You know, you literally put here's $500 of my money because I want to see this game made, so you can pick it up and be like, wow, it's the exact same game I've already played or beaten. Again, from a business standpoint, I don't feel bad for any of the people who backed the game, and the reason I don't is because you yourself should put yourself in from a business standpoint. The business standpoint being that they are going to do what's best for them as a company to help them grow as a company. They are an independent company. There's only 8 people plus David Kay and Gallup there. That's it. At Snapshot. All the way in the fucking middle of Bulgaria, wherever the hell. I don't agree with Jason from the Quartering. He says he's sympathetic and feels bad about the people who backed the game. And then spends the rest of the video, talking about, player choice and this and that. Young Yao has the exact same pretty much video and points out what people are saying here and there and how, but Gallup's been transparent. He basically stated, I knew this would upset people. We are offering full refunds through this third-party thing, but you can also get it through Fig. Someone figured that out without Gallup actually realizing you could do that. People are getting refunds, whatever. My point is that they didn't scam anybody, okay? They started the game out and we're going to go with one way. But when Epic came along and Epic liked what they saw, they wanted to have that game on their thing. Epic is trying to buy up exclusivity stuff for a lot of people right now because they're trying to compete with Steam and GOG. They're mainly competing with Steam. And, anybody that loves Steam, great that you can get, like, some amazing games for $2 when they have these sales and stuff. But look how much shit got greenlit on there. Look at what Jim Sterling has talked about, that is just complete and utter trash. Like, it's like 85% of the games on Steam, 85%, maybe 90%, are complete and utter, unfinished, unpolished garbage. That it's just that people just shovel on there. It's a shovelware. It's like the fucking Wii, but like on a whole nother level. And yet people just love Steam so much. No, fuck Steam. Steam allows trash games on their site for no reason. And it's just, and they're hoping that because they can sell these trash games for like such a small amount that no one really is going to care about a refund. Steam gets their money, everyone's happy. Epic Games Launcher, regardless of maybe it doesn't work well. A lot of launchers or executable launchers don't work all that great. They just don't. Steam might work fine. GOG might work fine. Hell, there's people who say they like the Epic Game Launcher. They don't have any problems with it. This is one of the issues that I have with I'm not a PC player. One PC can run it no problem. Never an issue. Everything works fine. But a completely different build of a PC that is similar, but because it uses some different kind of whatever Windows or some different kind of this or some different kind of hardware, it just doesn't run well at all. That's why being a PC player is stupid. Like, it's just dumb. Like, I would never want to go back to that. I got so sick and tired of having to constantly upgrade or seeing it work on my buddy's computer, but this didn't work on the computer because of this reason and some kind of bullshit software, hardware kind of combination. Now, buy a PS4, put the game in, installs, works every time, never a problem. Every game always works every time. No, never a problem. Does not matter. It's never a software issue, never a hardware issue. Works 100%, 100% of the time. But Jason from the Quartering and Yang Yao literally put these stories out because they felt like, they felt so bad for the backers. And they felt like, people were saying we were scammed. Nobody scammed you, okay? I agree with Snapshot Games. They did what was best for business. For them, they wanted to make sure they could continue to support the game. And to continually to support a game, $2 million originally that they made, it's not going to be enough to carry that game all the way through. Especially after you pay all your employees and you pay the rent that you own a place, that you are leasing a place, or if you own a building, or property taxes, all the stuff that gets dropped down, lighting, water bill, food provided, all the stuff that happens at a company. It all gets trickled down. They wanted to make sure that the game would have enough money to float. And yes, they already stated if we give 100% of the refunds, we would still have enough money to make the game. And again, that's because Epic gave them a really nice deal. And any company out there who's trying to make a product, and let's just say, it's a video game, it's still a product, is going to do what they can do to ensure that that product is successful. If Yang Yao and JUICEman3941's they do not own businesses. Maybe you could consider their YouTube channel a business because they get ad revenue, they get backers who give them money, they get millions of views or whatever, so that's how maybe they do that for a living. I don't know if Yang Yao, I don't know if JUICEman3941 has a 9-to-5 job. They may, but even if they don't, they don't own YouTube. You see, they might make money off of it, but they don't own YouTube, so they are not business owners. Just like I'm not a business owner. I don't own anything, right? Except for my copyrighted music that I have done, because I'm a keyboard player, and I have stuff in copyright, and I have stuff that's set up that way. I also have 4 novels that I've written. They're all copyrighted. They are mine, right? But the point is that, since they don't own a business, and I don't own a business, but I've been in business, right? Before, and I know what it's like when you got to sell a product, because I myself, being a keyboard player, would have to record and spend money to go to the studio to record my solo work in albums and CDs or whatever. I have to spend X dollars in hours in a studio, how many dollars on a CD, how many dollars to make the pamphlet, all the stuff that you see, all these little things that nickel and dime you to get a finished product. And then people get pissed at, why are you selling your CD for $10? Why don't you just sell it for $5? Because I can't do 5. I've got 5 in it. I've got to make my money. Maybe I can sell it to you for 8, but I still try to make my money. It's the same concept, right? This is why there's websites now that are set up a couple websites out there that let you give them a flat fee, $250, and they'll do all these CDs and everything that you will request for it and help you distribute it even digitally, and all you spend is $250. That's it, because it's cheaper to do that now. And the point is that why would you go about doing the old way where it's going to cost, instead of where you're spending $2,000 to get a CD out? Why not just spend $250? It's the same concept. I'm going to do what's best and still make, $5 off each CD, but with a lot less money and get a better return on my investment. Snapshot Games is a business, okay? They are a company producing a product. Yang Yao and Jason, don't you get that? I don't think you actually get that at all. I don't think either one of you get that. You're on the side of the consumer, but you're not even looking at the fact that they're offering refunds, period, so no one's out really any money. They get it all back. They get it all back. They get their money back, right? You're not even addressing the fact that the company was willing to do that. The company could have been like, fuck you, you're not getting your money back, but they're not doing that. They even admit that they knew people would be pissed about this, would be upset about this, but they're doing everything they can to make sure that their product succeeds. And I don't think you all are putting yourself in the shoes of the developer. Just because they said originally this is what was going to happen and something has changed, because that's business, that is the nature of business. And I'm sure you've worked 9-to-5 jobs, and at any business, change is the universal constant. But you all seem to think that should not have happened, and now Yang Yao and Jason are all, oh God, look what they did to us. No, I don't care. The other thing I want to point out is, you can be sympathetic to them, but it's funny how Yang Yao and JUICEman3941 has never stated that they put their money into the game, so they're actually not out anything. They're on the side of the consumer. I'm not on the side of the consumer. I'm not. Just like if Toyota had all those brake problems, and yes, some people were getting hurt, some things were going on, but what happened was they got their cars fixed for free. They got their hospital bills paid for free. Toyota made the reparations and fixed their car. It's no different. This is a gaming game that's coming out by Snapshot Games, and people are pissed because they went with Epic Games instead of Steam or GOG, which is what they originally stated when the game first was talked about. And now a year later, now they're going with Epic because Epic is giving them the money to make sure that this game gets backed 100%. They raised 700 plus thousand from the normal regular consumer like myself, the gamer myself. I'm not a PC player, so I didn't know shit about it. I'm just commenting on the story. And then they raised another with other investors and got up to 2 million, and they signed an exclusivity with Epic and got 2.5 more million, and then 4.5 million total to ensure that the game was going to be made, and they had the content there, and they could pay all their bills and pay their employees and do all that stuff. And Yang Yao and Jason at the Quartering is pissed because they feel like that people, oh, they were scammed, and we feel so bad for those backers. Again, Julian Gollop at Snapshot did a video. You can go to Fig, you can go to their third-party thing, you can get a full refund. If you don't like it, you're unhappy with it, or if you stick with it for the year, you get all the DLC for free. You get a free Steam key and a GOG key and an Epic key. And it just kills me how, like, these two YouTube channels, which I love watching, they make some really good valid points. I'm not knocking them, but what I am knocking is the fact that they're not even putting themselves in the shoes of a business. If I'm a business and I see I can get a deal where not only will I make more money or more percentage off the games that sold with this particular launcher, like with Epic Games, or do I not do that at all and not have make as much money as I can off of it with signing exclusivity deal, and maybe down the road I won't be able to produce that DLC I want. Which do I go with? The company that's going to help me make my company grow, or hell with that, and we'll put out a game, and if it doesn't sell well, guess what? No DLC, no nothing, and then backers are really going to be pissed because they're going to see this unfinished game come out. I would rather go with, what's best for business. And that's what I'm talking about. Snapshot Games made the right decision for them as a company. And Jason from the Quartering and Yang Yao from Yang Yao on YouTube can't even see it from the business standpoint. They don't see it. They think that the people were scammed. They think that they were lied to. They're on the side of the consumer. I get that. But no one was scammed. No one was lied to. Things change. That's what happens. That's what happens because that is business. That's what happens. It's no different than Ubisoft lying about Watch Dogs and the way it was going to be all this crazy high fidelity, and then the game comes out and it wasn't. It's no different because things change, right? People leave companies. It's like Anthem. Everybody talks about it, and again, with BioWare. Oh, but BioWare, they make these great stories. They made KOTOR. Do you understand that nobody, not one person that made KOTOR back in, 1999, 2000, whatever, 18 years ago, did you know that not a single person who made that game works at BioWare anymore? Did you know that? Did you know that a lot of the people who worked on the Mass Effect trilogy left BioWare after the trilogy? Did you know that? But everyone still blames BioWare for Anthem's failings. This is not BioWare. This is BioWare as a name, but it's not the people who worked on those games years ago, and they didn't give us a story narrative, and oh my god, 2 weeks of hearing that shit. My point is, it's the same concept. Things change. People leave companies. You don't hear a lot about it on the back end. If you are a business and you're trying to create a product, whether it's a video game or a car or a loaf of bread or a radio or whatever you're doing, you're going to do what is best for business. I am happy that Snapshot Games are offering refunds to those who kick-started it or who helped them back their game and raised a little over $700,000 for them. I'm happy they're offering refunds through their third party and through Fig. I'm happy that they're going to give away all the DLC for free if people stick with it. I'm happy they're trying to make amends. At least they're doing that. EA would never do that. Ubisoft would never do that. Would never do that. These companies would never do that. So at least Snapshot a small little bitty 10-man company is doing that. So I'm going to leave you with this, my people sitting at the gaming roundtable and who watch my channel. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out Unpaid Gamers. Check out Posthuman Guy. Check out the JUICEman3941. I'll leave you with this. Jason at the quartering and Yang Yao, you guys, I like your channels. I like what you're doing. I hope that you will continue to do what you do, but you need to not be so one-sided on this. This is a situation where you got to look at from a business standpoint, and that business, like anything else, changes. They decided to make sure that their game would actually come out and be with all the DLC, and that's what they did. They made a business decision. They even knew it was going to piss people off, but they did it anyway because they wanted to ensure that the game was made, it was complete, and it would come out, and that's just the way it is. Yes, they had to sign the 1-year exclusivity to make sure that happened, but that is the nature of business. It's absurd that I cannot believe that these two people, these two really intelligent people, cannot see it any other way. This has been episode 16 of the Gaming Roundtable. Thank you for tuning in to this to talk about Snapshot games, and please support Unpaid Gamers on YouTube. And as always, gamers, good gaming.